Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the following elected and appointed officials: Michelle Iannello, Erie County Legislature, and Donna Brown, Deputy Mayor for the City of Buffalo. Thank you all for coming today. I'm Trudy Mollenberg, and I'm Chair of the Board of Trustees of United Way of Buffalo and Erie County, and I am proud to welcome you to our first annual State of the Community Address. Your presence here today means that our community matters to you, that you're interested in what's happening, but more importantly, in what we as a community can do about it. This gathering was made possible by Alexis de Tocqueville Society. This group of major donors supports and sustains United Way's work to improve the human condition in Erie County. In a moment, we'll hear from Robert Stevenson, who is chair of Tocqueville Society, about why it's so important to support our community through United Way. Then, Arlene Caucus, United Way's president, will speak about not only the what of the work we do, but the why, the staggering need faced every day by tens of thousands of children, families, and seniors. When one member of our community suffers, we all suffer. Each day, tens of thousands of people and families in Erie County suffer. The city of Buffalo is the second poorest big city in the nation. Living in poverty deals a crushing daily blow to nearly 1 in 3 residents in Buffalo, nearly half of Buffalo's children, and more than 120,000 people in Erie County as a whole. Poverty means far more than just not having enough money to get by. Its effects touch every facet of our life: quality childcare, educational attainment, employment, even our seniors' population's ability to remain healthy and independent for as long as possible. But plainly, poverty is at the root of tremendous suffering in our community. When one family can't make ends meet, when one child goes to bed hungry, when one senior citizen makes the agonizing choice between food and life-sustaining medication, our entire community suffers. Perhaps you've heard the phrase, "a high tide lifts all boats." That's at the root of what United Way is all about. We're not working for one specific group of people. We and our partners are working every day to advance the common good for each and every member of our community. We take very seriously our responsibility to lift the tide of quality of life in Erie County, and we are committed to our role as stewards of this community, speaking for those who suffer and working to change conditions for the better. At this time, I'd like to invite Robert Stevenson, CEO of Eastman & Machine and chair of Alexis de Tocqueville Society, to share some thoughts. Robert?
Thank you, Trudy. Before I begin, I would like to recognize, to me, some very important people in the audience, and those are fellow de Tocqueville members: Ted and Ginny Walsh, Bob Zach, Mary Jo Hunt, and Pam Heilman. And not to embarrass you, but stand up and be recognized, because you are the mainstay of this. I want to thank all of you for attending today. I think this is going to be an interesting and I hope very informative session. And I hope you will not only be informed by what you hear today, but inspired as well. I also hope that you leave here, those of you who support us, and I hope all of you support us in the audience, will have even a greater determination to go out and make a difference in our community. The Alexis de Tocqueville Society is proud to sponsor today's event. The society represents 90 individuals and families who make significant financial contributions of $10,000 to over $100,000 to United Way. And the Tocqueville members do this because we not only believe that United Way is the agency of change and the agency that makes a difference, but it is right to do this for our community. I agreed to chair the Alexis de Tocqueville Society when Trudy asked me to do it, not because our children are getting engaged this year. A little personal information, Trudy, we do know that. But more importantly, because of basically my family history. But when I decided to do it, a number of questions came to my mind. Why do people give? What are we really supporting with our dollars? And why am I and others who are fortunate always asked to continue to step forward to support the United Way? For me, the answer to these questions was an easy one. My business, Eastman Machine Company, has been in Buffalo since 1888. And I'm the fourth generation to be the CEO of it. My son, Trevor, is the fifth generation to work there. Being a family business and being in a city where we manufacture and distribute our products means that we need not only to have a successful business in terms of what we sell, but a successful community to support us. And the legs of a successful community depend upon that all people have an opportunity to do well. In the 1950s, my grandfather, Wade Stevenson, was a leader in our community and indeed was one of the early supporters of the United Way. And as a child, I can continually remember the message that he used to give to us, that we were very lucky to be in the fortunate circumstances to which we were born. And with that position comes a responsibility to give back to the community that allowed us to thrive and do so well. He would ask us, what have we done today to make this world a better place? We are fortunate that we live as well as we do. All of us here are fortunate that we have the abilities and skills, that we have our families whole, and that we have businesses that allow us to live without the fear of poverty or hunger. We have not endured the oppression of poverty. We are free to live our dreams. And rather than wish for a dream that cannot be realized unless an organization such as United Way can step in and make a difference. And that's why I am committed to being a member of the Tocqueville Society. When de Tocqueville, and those of you who don't know who he was, but he was a French writer and observer of democracy, and he visited America in the 1830s, he was left with a very lasting impression the way the early citizens of America would help each other in times of need. From his writings, quote, "I must say that I have seen Americans make great and real sacrifices to the public welfare and have noticed 100 instances in which they hardly ever failed to lend faithful support to one another," end quote. That spirit, the spirit of volunteerism, is what drives my own commitment. I believe in the volunteers and workers throughout Erie County at all United Way agencies, each of whom go to work each day trying to make life a little better for those who live among us and those who suffer. And I believe that the dollars we give to United Way are not simply channeled to organizations by virtue of who might be on their board of trustees or just by the history of who they were, but are wisely invested in programs and collaborations that not only meet immediate needs, but also create change so the future is bright on a long-term basis. The United Way direction today is one that reflects a proverb. Feed a man a fish and you feed him for the day, but teach a man how to fish and you may feed him for his life. We seek, and by we, it's the United Way and our joint agencies, seek to create a long-term approach that will solve the pressing problems of poverty, illiteracy, and educational deprivation that serve as a breeding ground for the malaise of poverty that affects our community. With your help, and with the spirit that is the hallmark of all United Way volunteers, I ask you to continue to support the United Way, continue to join us, and make a difference in this community. And now I'm proud to introduce Arlene Caucus, the United Way's esteemed president, who will deliver the State of the Community Address. Arlene.